Okay, we're going to move on with our math today, and we're going to start looking at solving algebraic equations using the manipulatives and actually learning how to draw from the manipulatives. And we are going to follow three basic rules for the rest of the math that we do in this unit. We're going to try to never forget them. If I was in class with you, I would be repeating these rules multiple times each class. What I suggest you do is copy them down, or I guess you can't really print from this. I may try to make a slide for you so that you can just print it off, but copy them down, never forget them. Rule number one is going to be isolate the variable. You want to make the variable feel very lonely. And that means that you're going to manipulate the equation so that you end up with the variable on one side of the equal sign and numbers or a number on the other. So you could end up with something that looks like x equals 3 plus 2. Or you could end up with x is equal to 5. But my variable is isolated. Okay? How are we going to do this? How are we going to isolate this variable? We're going to use two things. One, the first rule, whatever you do to one side of the equal sign, you do to the other. This is called maintaining equality, and it will keep your equation balanced. So if I have x plus 2 equals 6, and if I want to add 2 to one side, so I'm going to have x plus 2 will equal, you've got it, 6 plus 2. Whatever I do to one side of the equation, so here I added another 2, a crazy thing to do, you'll find out later, but it served my example, and here I added 2 on this side of the equals. The third rule is that we're going to work with inverse operations. So when we want to get rid of, we're going to think of this as positive 2, we're going to get rid of it with negative 2. Because adding and subtracting are inverse operations. Multiplying and dividing are inverse operations as well. So we're just going to stick with these rules. Isolate the variable. Whatever you do to one side of the equal sign, you do to the other, and work with inverse operations. Now, let's take a look at how we're going to do that. We're going to start with a really simple equation. You're looking at this equation right now and saying, duh, Mrs. Mahar, like we know the answer's 2. And that's good. I'm glad that you're able to do that. I just wanted to show you that you've been doing algebra since you were in grade 1. In grade 1, your problem would have looked like this. There wouldn't have been an x, but the teacher would have given you a worksheet that looked like this. I'm sure some of you can remember. All right? And you would have put out 3 little counters on your table. And the teacher would have said, now how many do you have to add to that to get 5? So you would have gone 1, 2, 3. And then you would have put one more here. And you would have said 1, 2, 3, 4. No, that's not enough. You would have put one more here. And you would have gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got it, Mrs. Mahar. And you would have known that you added 2, and you would have filled 2 in the box. All right? You were doing algebra and didn't even know it. Today, we're going to learn how to do it with the manipulatives so that when we move to more complex problems, we'll be able to do those. So let's take a look here. I'm going to bring up the manipulatives. And I'm going to do x plus 3 equals 5. So I'm going to bring over my x. And I'm going to x plus 3 equals 5. Okay? And now I have to think to myself, how am I going to get rid of this plus 3? Because I want to isolate this variable. I want him to be left all alone. Oh, I can do that. Okay, I've been trying to figure out how to do that. But I'm going to move him back. Okay, x plus 3 equals 5. To get rid of this positive 3, I'm going to bring in negative 3. because I learned when I was doing integers that an equal number of positives and negatives will give me 0. So now I've got 0 here. But if I put -3 on this side, I have to also put -3 on this side. I'm keeping my equation balanced. What I did to one side, I've now done to the other. Now I can look at what's happened. Here, this has become a 0, so it can go away. Goodbye. And these guys right here have become a 0. Goodbye. And they can go down here. And I'm left with x is equal to 2. All right? So let's go back and look at how would I draw this? Because we are going to fairly quickly move from using the manipulatives. They'll always be there for you. But like everything else that we've done so far this year, you have to be able to do it concretely, pictorially, and symbolically. So a reminder, concretely means using the manipulatives, pictorially means you drawing it, and then symbolically means that by the end of this next couple of weeks, we'll be able to do this without using any manipulatives at all. So how are we going to draw it? Normally, I would have you use your colored pencils, but I'm fairly certain that a lot of you don't have colored pencils at home. So we are going to use colored in for positives. So here's my positive x and my positive 1. And we're going to use just the outline for negatives. So negative x, negative 1. And I'm going to start by modeling my equation. X plus 3 equals 5. So x plus 3 and when I'm doing these, I'm going to draw a line to represent my equal sign. So x plus 3 equals 5. And I'm going to do this. And always I'm going to write next to the step what I've done. So x plus 3 equals 5. And I usually draw a wavy line to separate my steps. All right, now I'm going to try and isolate this variable. So I'm going to very quickly I'm going to just drag this down here like this, and I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to put 3 negatives over here. 1, 2, 3. And if I put 3 negatives on one side of my equal, I have to, whoops, didn't need to do that. I need to put 3 negatives over here as well. So here's 1, 2, and 3. And what am I going to write next to this? X plus 3, negative 3 equals 5 subtract 3. Okay? So this is what I've done. Now my next step, these are going to have disappeared. So what have I got now? I've got x on this side, and I've got 2 left over here. Because I'm just quickly going to show you these matched up, these matched up, these matched up. You won't have to draw these circles. All right, I'm just showing you these matched up, these 2 matched up, and these 2 matched up. And I'm left with x is equal to 2. Okay, we're going to play around with a lot of these, so if you're feeling a little bit confused, do not worry. We're going to keep at it. All right, let's go on to the next one. We're going to try another one. This one is 2x equals 6. So I'm going to go to my manipulatives. And I said 2x equals 6. Now, something I didn't talk about yesterday was how to show 2 of a variable. A lot of you just put 2 up here like this and said that was 2x, but really what that means is 2 plus x. So we're not going to do that. We are going to get rid of those little guys. Go away. Get. All right. And the way that we show 2x is just simply to put 2 x's out here. So 2x is equal to 6. Okay. Now, this 2x means 2 times x. Okay. So the inverse of 2 times x is 2x divided by 2. So I'm going to divide this by 2. And the way that I show division is I'm going to flip these. So I'm going to flip this one, and I'm going to flip. I'm going to pull this down, and I'm going to flip this guy. Where's my little flipping thing? He doesn't want to flip. Isn't that crazy? We're going to get rid of him. We're going to bring another one in. Hopefully it will want to flip. There we go. And it's going to flip. Okay, so now I've divided by 2. And then I'm going to take these guys and I'm going to divide them by 2. I'm going to put them in groups that correspond to and I'm left with x is equal to 3, which is what you guys all knew all along. Let's do it with me drawing it out. All right, I need 2x is equal to 6. So I've got 2x. I'm going to draw my equal sign. And then 6. Okay, I'm going to draw my wavy line. Whoops, there we go. And I'm going to write 2x equals 6. Then I'm going to divide. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I can flip them. Here we go. Flip, flip, and I'm going to divide up my 6. So I'm going to go 1. I'm going to move this up a little bit closer. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to write my equation, and what it's going to look like is 2x divided by 2 equals 6 divided by 2. And then my last step will be to say that x, whoops, here's my, get back here, x is equal to 3. So each x is equal to 3. And I would write x is equal to 3. Okay, that's a lot to take in. I recommend you watch the video a few times. I'm going to give you 1 or 2 practice ones to do that I would like to have you send me so I can just see that you're doing them correctly. When you send me work, do it neatly. All right, Make your rectangles look like rectangles and your squares look like squares. Make your rectangles quite a bit bigger than your squares. All right, do your very best work.